Welcome. My name is John Mazzara, and I'll be teaching tonight, and thank you for coming. I'm going to be recording this, and we're going to take a look at my PowerPoint and go through it. Probably be about a half hour, 45 minutes. And then for all that are in attendance that would like a copy, just let me know. There may be some others joining us as we start to present. So with that, let me share my screen. Okay, can everybody see this? Fantastic. All right. Well, again, my name is John Mazzara. I started selling homes back in 1986. So a little bit about me. I've sold over 1,200 homes all throughout the metro area. In addition to being a real estate broker, I also have a financial planning practice. I've done that since 1989. I've been a CFP. And I also owned a mortgage company for about 25 years with my wife. So I had a kind of a three-legged, vertically integrated stool. We closed the mortgage company during the last recession. And then Patty, my wife, joined Wells Fargo. So she is over there doing loans. And I'm selling homes in my financial planning. So let's take a look at what I have for you this evening. One of the first things I wanted to share was where you can get some data on what's happening within the Twin Cities marketplace. Now we can go macro or we can go micro. I'm going to give you the website address. It's mplsrealtor.com. mplsrealtor.com. That's an open site, no password is necessary. And on that, you can, again, through the market data tab, you can drill down and look at what's happening throughout the Twin Cities. So I like to start macro, at least initially, and this is the 13 county Twin Cities region. There are three areas that I'm going to highlight for you. The first one is the median sales price. What we can see is that from October of last year until October of this year, the price changed from about 360 to 366. That's about a 1.7% rise in prices. If we smooth the data and look at it over 12 months, we see it went from 369 to 369, or I'm sorry, from 360 to 369. That's a 2.5% increase. Now, the 1.7 that we're in at the moment is less than the rolling 12, which shows kind of the slowing down that's occurred most recently in the market. And part of that is due to the seasonality of the fall market and the inclement weather that has just become upon us, as well as the higher interest rates that we're experiencing and that have kind of cropped up close to 8 over the course of the last 30 days. Excuse my phone there. The other thing that we're going to take a look at is percent of original list to sale price. What we see here is that homes are selling at about 98.5%. And over 12 months at about 99%. So 1.5% is the average that people are coming off the prices, assuming that they've priced their home accurately to start with. And the months of supply of inventory has increased from 2 to 2.3 months. Still not as many homes as we would like to see on the market, but more than we've had a year ago and about a 15% increase. So that slight uptick in inventory, the fewer number of buyers because of interest rates and the time of the year has led to some price compression that could turn around, but that may not be until we hit the spring market. So I always like to talk about kind of what's happening in the Twin Cities because that may impact when you decide to downsize. So the name of this class is Downsizing Made Easy, five easy steps to a successful move. We're going to try to make it simple for you and that you get to the next destination of your journey comfortably and easily. So how is downsizing made easy? Well, we're going to go over the 5 steps. Have you ever heard the saying, if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail? Have you ever heard the saying that indecision is an actual decision? And that tends to be what I see that what happens a lot with regards to moving is that people make reactive moves due to a health situation. I broke a knee, I broke a hip, I cracked my head, whatever it might be. And so they're making a quick, hasty decision out of necessity versus taking a researched position over time based on, visiting places and getting information. So we want you to do a proactive move and not a reactive move, given the choice. So the first step is to create a plan. When approximately are you going to move? Is that a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now? But pick up a timeline so that you can start to get, a goal in place and the steps and that process to work towards it. The second step is to communicate with your family and friends. Now, again, we're not asking their permission. We are looking for some of their input and taking into account some of their considerations, which might impact our decision. Number three is surrounding ourselves with professionals. You could do all of this yourself, but unlikely. You'll probably involve a realtor, a financial planner, maybe an attorney, movers, a move manager. There are a number of different people that you might employ for this next move of yours. Step number four is what tends to hold people back, and that's dealing with the house full of possessions. I'm guilty of it myself. When you get so much stuff accumulated, sometimes the thought of dealing with it is so overwhelming that you leave it and it gets worse. And that's the wrong way to respond, but that's very normal. So if that's you and you've accumulated 30, 40, 50 years worth of stuff and you don't know where to start, and that's what's holding you back, you're not alone. But little by little, you can get it done. And how is that? I'm going to throw another cliche at you. It's eating an elephant, one bite at a time. So if you look at it at one time, it's overwhelming. If you look at it in little bite-sized steps, it's something that you can work on over time. And then number five is celebrating your new lifestyle. So you're here for a reason. You're getting this information for a reason. In the back of your head, you know that you probably are going to have to make another move. And because of that, we might as well again make it fun and proactive rather than reactive. So let's create that plan. Think about what type of a lifestyle do you need or want, both for now and in the future. And a big part of this is, where do you stand financially? Many people don't have a budget. And when you go out and you look at the cost of new construction or renting, you'll often find that it's very expensive. And you also may find that you're going to be with us in your life for another 20 to 40 years, depending on what age you're watching this and what your health and genetics might be. So what you don't want to do is have too much life at the end of the money. Ideally, you want to run the two out together or leave a little bit behind, but you don't want to run out of money. And so that's why creating a budget and doing an honest assessment of your life expectancy is very important. Now, what type of housing that you consider will depend a lot on your health. So here's just a small list of some of the housing that's available. One is independent senior living communities. They're building these all over. These are the 55 or 62 plus apartments. They don't provide generally any services or meals. So what you're doing over there is if you need those things, you're bringing them in, but they're not being provided. Assisted senior living communities sometimes will offer more of those types of services. Memory care that would be for Alzheimer's. Long-term health community might be someplace that you go and you know that you're going to be there no matter what happens to your health. As you move up and down the hall, it's very similar to a continuous care community. You might move in with independent living. You might, at the very end, move into memory care. It's all housed at one location, so you know that you don't have to move. And then we have planned adult communities. You may have heard of Sun City in Arizona. You may have heard of Del Webb as a developer. They're the ones that develop Sun City, or the Villages, for example, down in Florida. Well, we are now building those types of communities throughout the Twin Cities. There's three of them that come to mind, and there will probably be more in the future as they build to match the aging demographic. Did you know that there are 10,000 people turning 65 each day for the next 20 years? So that's a lot of people that are going to be in transition, generally because of health or lifestyle, wanting to move out of their homes into some type of different housing. The other way too, if you're not going to be renting, would be to look at purchasing a condo or a townhome. That's oftentimes very common for someone coming out of a house or sick of the snow if you're in Minnesota and sick of the leaves and decide that, you know what, latchkey living, come and go is a little more attractive and a little more safe. So condos, townhouses are very popular, as well as garden homes and patio homes. And if financially you're not able to afford very much, you may look at subsidized housing, but subsidized housing doesn't necessarily mean decrepit housing. It could be very nice housing built specifically as subsidized for certain age brackets, such as 55 or age 62. So a lot of times the developer will get special rebates from the city or the county to provide that type of housing. So you might be very pleasantly surprised, even if you're on limited means, on what is available to you. The next step is to communicate with your family and friends. So you're thinking about it, you've got some ideas, you talk to them. But again, we're not asking permission to move. We're not asking them to necessarily agree with your decision, but we are asking for their input. They may say, move closer to me, mom or dad, or don't. Or, why are you moving here when you could move somewhere else, closer to a hospital or closer to your doctor, or maybe better weather? Maybe your health necessitates that. So getting some additional input, but not on a permission basis from relatives and friends. So share your ideas. They may have some back. Start that dialogue. If they live out of state, you might create a written document, or you may prefer just to have an organized document that, can be used as a template that everybody can go through. And let them know what support you may need in helping to make that transition, so you know if you can or if you can't count on them. One of the things that I've found is that the communities, all of them, are very open to giving you a tour. They want you to come visit their community because you may be a future tenant or a future owner. So that's what I say about being proactive. You need to plan this in advance, identify what you want, and then start taking tours. And then keeping good notes. So I have some sheets that you can copy and that you can utilize in that process. You're going to need other people as well. So real estate, when I started in 1986, the purchase agreement was a couple pages. With the addendums, we might end up with 12, 13 pages. Today, it's very uncommon if you don't have 50 pages. So everything in life has gotten more complex, and there are more things that can get you into trouble. So more than ever today, I feel that you need to be guided properly by a real estate person if you're going to be buying or selling a property. There are other people that you may encounter, such as move managers. There's caring transitions and gentle transitions and Rose's Daughters, for example. Those are companies that help coordinate that move for you. So if you need to locate a mover, hang pictures on the wall, set up that router. Maybe you have other relatives that are too busy or out of state or just can't do it. There are companies that you can hire that will. So it's like hiring that son or daughter or a sister, brother, or a spouse to help what they would have done if they could have done it. Sometimes you have too many things and you just need to blow them out, and doing a liquidation might be the way to go. So that estate sale, that garage sale, or the coordination of the two. And getting your home ready for sale might involve hiring various contractors. So one of the things that I do is take a walk with you around your home, come up with a list of items that need to be fixed. And then if you want to fix them, I can give you the names of contractors that I've worked with that I would recommend. Same with attorneys and home inspectors. Financial planner, I can wear that hat, as well as a life and health agent. I have a fantastic property casualty agent that I could recommend. And then I've toured many of the communities and the developers. So I've been to the Waters, I've been to Avador, I've been to Lingblomston, I've been to the Dominion properties. I've gone all over to the Legends. I've gone all over the place. And so I can share some of what I've seen on my tours. And I'm going to encourage you as well in the next couple of slides with other resources to find properties and where you can find some information. So everybody needs support when making a move, no matter what their age, but especially at an older age when maybe carrying those boxes just isn't going to work for you, or that furniture. And one of the places you could go would be a National Association of Senior Move Managers. Gentle Transitions, for example, is one company that's been around for 20 plus years, great reputation, and they're members. But there's more than them, obviously. So you could Google National Association of Move Managers and see some of the other companies. And there are other companies that do that same type of work that don't have that association. It doesn't mean they're any of a lesser company, it just means that they're not associated with it. But there are companies that sometimes have moving trucks, sometimes help you with auctions in the liquidation or the donation of some of your personal property. The biggest thing is deciding what to keep, because remember, you're coming out of maybe a 2 to 4,000 square foot house, going into something probably a third or fourth of that size. So maybe 800 to 1,500 square feet. Not everything's going to fit. And I know it's hard to give things up. I had one client that just refused. And so she moved all the stuff from her 2,500 square foot house into an 800 square foot apartment. She became an instant, floor to ceiling hoarder, and the apartment required her to get her stuff out if she was to stay there because it was a fire hazard. So you do have to be realistic as part of this process and take the bare minimum, or at least what's comfortable. You can't take everything because your space just doesn't accommodate for it. This is the time you may want to give things away to family or friends or relatives and to start making donations. And if you haven't touched something in a year, realistically, you probably aren't going to touch it the next year. So that might be a good rule of thumb or barometer for you on what to keep and what not to. Now, step 5 is adjusting to that new lifestyle. Who likes change? Well, not too many people. But after you've made the change and you're comfortable with it, then you wonder, why didn't you do it sooner? And so you're here for a reason. You're watching this for a reason, because you know that it's going to have to happen. Again, we want it to be on your terms. But going into the unknown, maybe from a house to a townhouse or an apartment, isn't something that you're familiar with. And so you're going to have apprehension, just like everybody else. So just remember that everybody is in that same spot. You're not alone. And sometimes you need a little support. And I would encourage you not to go into a shell, but to reach out to the other people around you, because they remember what it was like to be the new guy on the block. And they many times will welcome you in and help you become comfortable. But people want to know that you want to be approached, or they may not approach you. So it isn't that they're indifferent to you. They think they're being responsive to you. So just know that you may have to make that first gesture in order for it to happen. So stay active or become active. I have seen seniors that were isolated enjoy moving so much that they have a whole litany of activities, whether it be cards or painting or dining, all new friends, all new activities. Sometimes the best reason for moving isn't because you have too much space, but just to get away from the isolation that may have occurred. You want to keep up your physical activity. Many of you are going to be on Medicare, and you do have the various forms of silver sneakers and other type of healthcare plans. You definitely want to take advantage of them. They're online, they're in person, they're at many, if not all, but many of the health clubs. There's other educational things you can do, classes you can take an audit, and you don't get credit for it, but you can take them and keep your brain, going, and you're learning constant. And what you'll realize is that once you start the ball in motion, that it's easier to take the next step. So have fun, enjoy the next 20, 30 years, and welcome and embrace change to the extent that you can. You will once you get there. It's that transition period that's hard. Now I'm going to share a couple of other resources on the next slides. The website for this resource is seniorhousingguide.us. .us, not .com. I actually own the .com version as well, and I own this website. So I purchased this from the owner who had run this for over 20 years. She did a heck of a job keeping it current, and I'm going to be updating it online. You might remember seeing the senior housing guide at the grocery store and at the libraries. We won't be publishing this anymore, but we will be keeping it up online. So visit the website, Let me know if you have any questions. There's a number of other resources besides housing under the Resources for Seniors tab, and I would encourage you to get familiar with this website. Another thing that I have for you, you have to reach out to me in order to get it, but I have a fillable emergency guide that you can print out. It has your passwords, your contact people. Many times what I find is that people have little slips of paper all over the house in different locations. And think about if something was to happen to you. How would your family be able to go ahead and get into your Facebook account? Or how would they know what meds to give you or where your legal documents are, your power of attorney and those things? So you want to keep everything organized in one spot, and a guidebook is wonderful. I have a free one for you. It's a PDF and it's fillable. Just let me know. Another thing I have for you is this fantastic workbook. It's 64 pages. It's a PDF, and it helps you identify the types of housing that might work for you. And it gives you a series of questions. This was originally developed with Legg Mason and Johns Hopkins University, and then when Franklin Templeton purchased Legg Mason, they incorporated it under their name. But it's a wonderful tool. I use it when I teach my classes. And again, I have this in PDF format if you would like it. The resource for you is the book Gain More Freedom by Downsizing Your Home. I have this in a flip book or hard copy. I don't have it in a PDF, but the flip book is essentially a PDF. You just go to the website and you flip through it. I have other books. I have first time buying books for maybe your children or friends and family, home selling secrets, how to reduce your risk by investing in real estate and reality-based real estate investing, which is the book I wrote about my experiences when I was a younger man, just starting out, but my experiences selling real estate to investors and owning real estate. And there's some fun stories in there. I think you'll enjoy that as well. So depending on where your interests lie, I have lots and lots of resources. Again, my production level puts me in the top 1% of production within the whole country. And I would love to be your trusted realtor and resource. So wherever I can help, you can reach out to me. You can take a copy of my card, send me an email, or call me on the phone, send me a text, whatever you might like to do. And downsizing should be easy. I can go more in depth, but this is kind of a primer. And like I say, I have lots of resources that I'm happy to share with you. We just have to connect. Let me know, reach out to me. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you for attending.